Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dog Savant Podcast. Today is episode 43. My name is Brett Endies. I am your host. I am a professional dog trainer. I am a problem behavior specialist. I help dogs and owners connect and solve the problems that they are experiencing in their real life interactions. How's that sound? Anyone who's listening or been listening, welcome. Thank you for continuing to listen. Welcome to new listeners. If you've been on iTunes, please make sure that you subscribe to this show. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on social media at The Dog Savant. I have a YouTube version of the show that comes out every week. It is youtube.com/dogtrainingla. And also, please go onto my Patreon page and see if you can support that. It is patreon.com/The Dog Savant. Reason being is that this show is gaining momentum, and I want to be able to continue this and be able to get a real podcast studio, and just really keep this going here. I've been consistently now going for 43 episodes. We're almost 1 year into this. This is so awesome. Many of you may know that I've done a podcast in the past over the years, but I have not stuck with one for the long haul, and that is my commitment to you. This is something I want to continue to do. The motivation behind it, if anyone hasn't heard, is this is information that works in the real world. I've had too many unrelated people share with me that what I am teaching them is helping their dogs, and at times it's helping resolve some really severe problems that the dogs are having in the real world, okay? So I want to be able to get this information out to more dog owners. There's too many dogs out there nowadays that are not getting the right information, or dog owners, they're not getting the help they need, and there is a very straightforward reason why dogs have problems, and now we are living in a world where we are more influenced by the type of thinking that is promoted by the purely positive agenda, and people who think in that very off-kilter way that is telling dog owners that they are valid in doing exactly what is causing the issues in the first place, based on an emotive narrative or an emotion-based narrative that is not real, okay? And it blinds people, it blinds dog owners, and what's sad is it's blinding trainers and many, many people in the pet community from seeing what's going on, yet these dogs are getting put down in shelters, rescues are full to the gills, left and right, and nobody's explaining why. And the people who are talking about the truth are taking some hits, although I could really care less at this point. There's a lot of good dog trainers who are sharing the information. They still have to contend with this as far as these people trying to, defame them, slander them, hurt their livelihood, and call them dog abusers when they're the ones who are actually helping dogs and improving their quality of life. These are called balanced trainers, people that see the human-dog relationship for what it is and uses a balanced approach to dog training and the proper tools. Doesn't just work on avoiding discomfort mentally in a dog to never foster internal growth. Okay, I hope that made sense. So that is why I am doing this podcast. This information needs to get out there, and as I get older, I feel that if I can put time into something and sharing it, and if multiple dogs and owners can be helped with that time put in, so be it. However, this is not my full-time gig. My full-time gig is being a dog trainer in clients' homes with real dogs. So you supporting this show will help this get more momentum. Many of you know that I'm in the car often, so I use that time to make podcasts and create other media here, so I apologize for the lack of quality in the sound, but hopefully you can get the idea and again apply the content to help you and your dog as well. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? I didn't really have an agenda, but we do have a podcast that has to come out Sunday, and we're a couple days out from it, so I have a nice long drive. It's 7 o'clock here in Los Angeles, headed up north on the 405. I got some time on my hands. So let's see here. Maybe we'll start with Q&A. I did get some great questions from you, and that's also, if any of you do not know, please send me your dog training questions. You can either send me videos, email me at dogtrainingla@gmail.com. You can go onto my social media at The Dog Savant, on Instagram, and you can hashtag me. I will see it, and I will respond to it or answer it on the show. I love helping you, and it gives content for other dog owners who may be experiencing similar issues. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna, just pardon me, I have to kind of peek here on driving. So, okay, this is from Mary C. Mary's in Ohio, and Mary has 3 dogs. She has, 3 pit bulls of varying ages, 2 males, 1 female. The oldest male is 4, the middle female is 2.5, and the youngest is a year. The male and the 2 males are fighting, and they were getting along previously Why is this all of a sudden happening? Nothing changed, and both my dogs are social and good boys. Yes, all dogs are good dogs, but what's probably happening is there's been a little bit too much of an agenda being manifested on the part of the younger dog, and then that directly leads to the older dog maybe now seeing that dog as they get more mature as a challenge, and in turn the younger dog reaching about a year or even a year and a half starts getting to mental maturity and now saying, hey, things that I took lightly, I have to step up and take more seriously as well. And really what it comes down to is creating more order amongst the whole pack. I do a lot of place training and structured walks and having the proper individual relationships with dogs of this nature till things are a little bit more sorted out, so there's not this competition. Sometimes it's for resources, it's for attention, it's for protecting an owner or perceived protection. Sometimes it's when there's transitions, a lot of transition basis when things are coming and going. So a lot of times you want to lead your dogs through this so they feel that they don't have to over-assess, because all it takes is you're penning one dog, the other dog comes in unchecked, and that dog's allowed to do it, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, there's some competition, and humans are just in lovey-dovey mode, boom. That unawareness can lead to some dogs feeling they have to pick up the slack and compete with the other dog, even if in most times they get along fine, because it's all circumstantial. Because people try to humanize dogs and make rational sense out of their behaviors, where all it takes is a bone in the environment and now it's like a grenade just dropped. The whole dynamics change if your dogs have the potential for imbalance or insecurities. And your dog shouldn't have the potential, but that's what we got to work on, is work through it with a critical eye and get everything in order and get all your dogs to get together. So really in a nutshell, the dogs having some crossfighting is a symptom of probably not enough structure between them, and I'm talking about all three dogs. So I would recommend for at least a couple weeks to a month, I would have all dogs in place whenever they're not calm on their own, or any transition where they're going to be triggered by the movement, the new events, whether it be in and outs around the house, coming and goings at the door, social interactions in the house. We have guests, walks, social interactions out in public, anticipating greetings, attention, moving room to room, couch sitting, all these things where proximity through transitions and the personal space has to be regarded, right? The training helps guide the dogs through it and puts them in a situation where there's more order. They're working together, playing on the same team, in the same classroom as the same students, letting the humans be the bosses, coaches, teachers, right? Hopefully I articulated that well. I really try to give human examples of really how a dog sees it, but it's kind of their version. But from my best understanding, I try to help you to paint a picture so you can at least see more of these concepts, so you can understand why place training would make sense, why dogs getting overstimulated by this over-assessment of life going on around them to get their needs met, when their needs are met in such an easy way they don't have to over-assess, yet that leads to this overreaction to either life around them, the anxieties that are created, or competition amongst dogs that even live together, right? So you'll be okay, Mary. You just got to create more structure in your dog's life, make sure that they're just having this association of working on the same team instead of competing, because humans are the coaches or the managers of the company there. All right, let's do one more. Okay, and I've talked about this one before. Okay, Darlene, Charlie, Katie, and Zachary. Oh, Zachary. Okay, that's a family. Oh, they sent a picture. Okay, so we have an 8-month-old Doodle, I guess Gold Doodle, Labradoodle, Bernedoodle, and we're following everything that we've learned online, our local trainer taught us, and even some of the things we picked up on your podcast. But for some reason, our puppy is still peeing in her crate at certain times of day. She doesn't do it at night or when there's only me, but as soon as the kids come home, she seems to have a hard time holding it, even though she is, in my eyes, being taught how to be potty trained in the proper way. Just even how you described it, I'm pretty sure you are creating the right structure. And if anyone has any questions about potty training, we have a couple of podcasts and I have tons of content out there that talks about, potty training, troubleshooting potty training. And some dogs, there is an issue where they will go to the bathroom in a small space where the instincts aren't working the way they should, and that can be a little more challenging. And sometimes it's just a matter of taking the dog out more frequently, ruling out any medical issues, very much regulating the food and water intake. But a lot of times it's a dog that's getting overstimulated by the activity going on around them when either they're out of the crate or even in it. And I find there's a pattern, right? that this happens a lot in families where there's small children, where there's a lot of that getting overstimulated by the movement, and kids, there's a frenetic energy in the house, so the dogs have to, just like I said about the dogs that aren't getting along, place training, the ability to feel more order, not needing to get so worked up because they're constantly following and tracking and reacting to and clinging to all the movement and the transitions going on. And then when they're in a crate, they freak out because they don't know how to let go of it and chill out and fall back in life. And then they're working themselves up to the point where they can't even hold their faculties and they pee in their crate, even though their instincts are fine. And why do they not do it when it's overnight or when there's maybe one certain person there? Because they're calmer, there's less agenda driving them, and you have to work on the agenda. Otherwise, something like a crate, a tool, only goes so far. Tools are just tools. If you don't have the right materials, you're not going to be able to build a good house. And the right materials is the relationship, the understanding, and the foundation of how again, a house analogy. If you don't build a good foundation for a house, I don't care how quality or well built it is from the rest of the way up, it's going to have flaws, and there could be a long-term issue that's going to come back and haunt you or bite you in the ass after the fact, right? And dog training, especially with puppies, is no different. So a lot of times you have to work on the potty training, teaching a dog to go outside, use the bathroom, the outside time for their bathroom breaks, reward them when they do it, and then assess how long they can hold it before the next time they'd have to go. And if it's too soon, they go in a crate or some kind of small space on a leash, on a place. Even puppies, you can hold them sometimes, just so they don't go, and they wait it out a little longer so they don't go in the house. And then they go outside, and as they get older, they learn to hold it, up to 6-8 hours, so that they learn to go, take advantage of the window that you give them, the opportunity to go to the bathroom, empty the system, and then they're fine, and your house would act like a big space, like a crate that would keep them clean because it's the indoor environment. But for some dogs, they need the very small, confined location. And again, I don't think that's your issue. I think your real issue is because the dog's getting worked up when the kids are around, that we have to do more order exactly at those times. So when the children arrive home from school, or they're in the same room as your pup, you really want to have her on leash, in command, work on that place training, work on that focus building. Get her to focus on commands for long durations of time. A lot of trainers, I'm not the only one, they call it duration training. It's getting a dog to hold a command in one spot, usually a down, for a long duration of time. And it takes practice, it's consistency. And you need to, like endurance training or strength training for muscles, you need to work at it every day and integrate it into the real world, like cross training. You need to train your dog where the distractions are. And in your case, it's going to be when the kids are around. The other part of this is not so easy. It's kid training stuff. You need to teach your kids that they're gonna have a certain relationship with the dog for now, based on boundaries and structure and a calmer association. A lot of kids don't like when you tell them, hey, you can't come home and love on this dog, because it's not going to fare well for how your dog's acting, or how your dog's personality, or where you're at in the training process. It's not about, I say this over and over again, it's not about our needs. It's about the dog's needs. It's about making them feel balanced, secure, safe, and non-overstimulated for more than they need to be in everyday life situations, for them to feel that that's how they get their needs met, instead of getting overreactive and overexcited and anxious and anticipating and insecure and assuming in proximity they have problems with boundaries, because they're always waiting for the next thing to happen, instead of being like, oh, it's going to happen, because humans give me all of the right balance in my life, whether it be right exercise, attention, training, structure, nutrition, shelter. It's all covered. None of these dogs I meet should have any want, and some dogs are desperately seeking because they're extremely following patterns, and we're not aware of it, and we're hook, line, and sinker rewarding them for this over-anxious, over-anticipatory, overstimulated way of operating in everyday life, right? So your puppy will be okay, but you want to really get a handle on that, because if your dog keeps learning to react, you're going to have more than a potty training issue on your hands. So, this is a two-part thing. You can keep working on the potty, but I think you're going to get that, what's happening overnight, and when you're home alone, when the kids are there, if we can get a calmer association around them in the home environment when the dog isn't in the crate. Okay, so hopefully, these are really common things that I see. I don't make these answers up as I go. Oh boy, Brett, you're articulate. I learned what to say many, many times over, so it becomes, if you will, like a script in my head, because I want to be able to get the most efficient information and instruction out to all these people. I see a lot of dog owners. I mean, believe it or not, I'm seeing 4 or 6 clients a day, some weeks 7 days a week. I could see 30 or 40 clients in a week individually. It's again, I feel very fortunate I can help this many dogs, and I make a living doing what I love and enjoy. But there's only so many ways that dogs are going to see it. So short of living as a dog, I want to give people the best way to interpret how their dogs are seeing it, and their behaviors, and an efficient way to train a dog that gets you on the same page as them as immediately as possible. That's why I do this place training. It's a system that helps dogs and owners connect, where it creates a very black and white relationship, creates order, gives the illusion or the impression of a dog working for us and earning their needs, and can create just logistically the physical boundaries and the awareness on our part and the calmer states and associations during these life events and transitions. That just makes them see you as their leader, their pack leader. As much as I don't really find that much wrong with Cesar Millan, the pack leader thing isn't a general state. There is a pragmatic system you can implement to build up that role in your dog's life. It's just like anything as a system. If I want to get in better shape, I will step by step have a plan and actuate it. If I want to grow my business, if I want to have a new relationship, there is more or less a step-by-step plan, so you have an action you're going to take every step of the way, and if it goes off course, you can get back on your plan easier. This is a dog training plan. We create this for our clients every time we get together, and we make sure we're staying on the plan, and if not, I hold them accountable, because their dogs cannot handle this inconsistency if we're going to teach them that we are now going to take care of their needs through us being a step ahead of them, through the leadership structure focus that we create through training. Whew. Okay, boy, I'll tell you guys, this stream of consciousness thing, pardon me, I'm gonna get a drink here of my green tea. It's not so easy. That's why I like having guests sometimes. We can have a nice conversation, but I do want to share, and I do, as always, apologize if I go a little too off course here into Pluto, but I want to try to, kind of just get it out there, this information that, and maybe elaborate on it a bit. See, it's hard. It's kind of no dead air, no dead air, no dead air. All right, let's see. So we talked about that. Let's see any happenings going on. So let's see, if you're a client, we have our group class every first 3 Saturday mornings, 9 to 10 at Griffith Park. That's on the Hollywood side. It is the corner of Las Feliz Boulevard and Ferndale Drive. You look for the bear statue and the Griffith Park sign. We meet there. Weather permitting, make sure if you are a client and you are not on the list, send me your email address and I will put you on the update. Or if you're just anyone who wants to get updates on what's going on, let me have your email address and I'll put you on our mailing list. That'll send out some just happenings for just people who aren't actual clients here in Los Angeles. Let's see, anything else? Oh, so again, just send in your questions. It gives me so much to do here for the show, and I really think that because there is, and that's what I think I was getting at, is it's really, there's only so many problems that dog owners are experiencing. It's usually the same theme over and over when I'm working with people, and so I really think that if I answer enough of these dog training questions, we've got a body of information that anyone can take and apply. And yes, you may need a little bit more physical demonstration, but the theories, and then supplementing it with some of the content that I have out there, my videos, my show, the Untrainables we did last season. It's on Facebook Watch. It's the Untrainables. You can go on there, and there's a lot of demonstration, and it's well edited as far as showing what I do, and how a lot of this philosophy applies to real world training tactics that you can give to your dogs. The equipment, even the place training, it's all shown there. And even on my YouTube channel, I have plenty of videos showing this as well. Okay, so traffic continues. Let's see, I try to keep these 20 to 30 minutes. I try to get it out there. I want to get you, stay on topic. I don't want to, make any one podcast too convoluted. I think it's really good to just kind of, so you have just like a little, you can cherry pick, like, oh, okay, I want to hear more about my dog peeing in the crate. Oh, look, in the show notes, it said that Brett answers a question about a dog peeing in the crate. Boom, there you go. You're on podcast 43. That's how it works. Let's see. We have like a semi-sponsor. I always mention them once in a while. wildzorafoods.com. They make healthy paleo and freeze-dried foods. I remember because I went hunting this past weekend, and I had some with me, so I always am keeping it fresh in my mind when I'm out at the campsite. But they're good, they're great. They're actually, I'm loyal to them. They are our first sponsor, and if you enter the code the Dog Savant, you'll get 20% off your first order. And if anyone else is in the pet industry, even just related products that are, something that I would stand behind, that I would utilize myself for my own dogs, recommend to my clients or my own life, please reach out to me, dogtrainingla@gmail.com. We'd be happy to talk to you about any type of opportunity. Really love forming partnerships, anyone that's willing. I think we got some good info here. We're getting a nice listener base, and thank you to you listeners. You guys are great. The more I find out and see in the analytics that we got all these cool people from different places listening to the show, subscribing to the channels, the more I'm going to keep doing this. So thanks so much. You're the reason why. Train your dogs. Get out there with your dogs. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again.